It's Monday, and we're here to bring you a little bit more coverage of Week 6, the final day of Week 6, and we're going to start things off with EnVy versus Randozos over in North America.
Monday Night Smite. This is going to be a pretty interesting match, honestly, for both these sets, right? First, we have EnVy versus Randozos. The talking point here, it's got to be EnVy. They're coming in on a 7-game loss streak after switching roles and positions and players for weeks on weeks in a row, and now they're coming up against the worst team right now in probably between both leagues in the Randozos.
Well, let's have a look at the standings. You'll see exactly how they line up here. Randozos 1-13 right now. Meanwhile, EnVy, their opponents today, sat in 6th, 6-10. Below Denial, Eager, Luminosity, Soar, and of course, the #1 team in North America right now, Enemy at 13-5.
And like I said, EnVy, they started off 6-3. They looked like the squad we kind of expected them to be. CycloneSpin gets a pentakill against Eager. Very on in the split, the team seems to be firing on all cylinders. Everything's working, and then everything just stopped working, right? They just tried to make too many changes to their roster right now, and they're in such a flux that all these other teams that have made maybe minor changes, the teams at the top right now are the 3 teams that haven't had a single change since the beginning of the split. And even if they had a rough start, looking at Eager specifically, they kind of worked on it and started gelling together.
And you can see this is all important to get towards DreamHack as well, as we're in week 6 at the moment. The last few weeks, very important. Top 3 teams from each region will go. You can get your tickets there over at www.dreamhack.se. You can head over there and get all your ticket information in time to get yourselves there as well. We will be bringing, obviously, the Masters DreamHack competition with 9 different teams from around the world, as well as the Paladins Founders Tournament, as you saw there. But back to the action today then. EnVy looking to go to DreamHack. Obviously, they were expected to be a top 3 team this year. They need to change things up. They've changed things up. I keep saying they need to change things up. That's all they've been doing.
They're not out of it yet, right? If this team can, somehow come together, maybe they can get things rolling. We're only halfway through the split, plus a little bit, right? Because we're into week 6 here. But EnVy, right, this is the thing, like, you can never count this squad out specifically just because of the players on the roster. They're all individually just monsters in their own rights. However, it just seems to be the synergy of the team is really what's lacking for them.
Well, the funny story is Randozos, it's kind of a similar story to what Kevin just said, though. You can't actually count them out anymore. They beat LG. Well, they split with LG. They took a game off LG.
If Polar Bear Mike was still in that support position, I would say I think they're going to start taking some games off some of these teams. Even members of LG that came in, obviously they had been the first to lose, but Barracuda was saying in scrims right now, scrims don't mean everything, but the team had really started to gel together, but then they lose PBM, kind of their main shot caller, kind of the leader on the squad. Maybe he wasn't, the best player ever, right? He's in a support position. He can't hard carry, but he was the one that kind of he was like the glue. He was the glue to a team that really was kind of dispersed amongst different players. And now that he's gone, it's going to be up to Leftsyndrome in that support role to really shine and maybe bring them back to finding some wins.
Well, let's go into picks and bans and see if Leftsyndrome is the new glue that is going to help our Randozos this year. Up against EnVy. Let's find out.
Mike looks for the taunt. He's going to find it on Farizio. Nice Geb shield. Farizio forced to beats, makes it over the wall. Oh! Scary D snipes him out.
Really impressive. Scary D blind shot over the wall.
Stand against the wall and you see Skeeledon bring minions towards the wall. Whalrus
turning up this match. First blood on Divios. Looks like they're falling apart. K-Davion got a couple.
Here we go. Randozos, first pick, first ban up against EnVy. EnVy, we saw them yesterday against Enemy as well. Disappointing game from EnVy realistically in the
very disappointing. They looked really rough both games. Once again, it kind of came down to these players. They're playing individually. It really didn't seem like they were working as a unit. Omega struggling a little bit. Now, it was his first time in the jungle in an official SPL match, but really didn't have kind of that shining star that, we've kind of known him to be when it comes to the soul lane.
Well, we saw him on the Humbats and the Najar in that game. We also saw Kiki in the Hunter role for the first time this season, actually.
He was
quiet. A long time. Playing the Sol, pretty much existed there, but got a lot of focus onto him here. Do you expect Randozos to do the same against Kiki?
It's possible. They could just look to poke out Omega, because that's really what Enemy did. They didn't really allow Omega to farm, and they didn't even look for the kills. Omega didn't have a massive amount of deaths on the Naja, but he was so far behind because of Enemy's focus on him. EnVy is here, though. They're going to start the picks and bans. They take out Zeus and Isis. They've banned Isis now 13 games in a row. probably one of their biggest weaknesses is that Stealth doesn't like playing against it or playing on it.
And Bakasura taken out by Randozos. We saw that enemy did the same thing against them as well. I think they're very worried about seeing Omega.
No, they're worried about CycloneSpin.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's CycloneSpin, right?
Well, me and Tolly were talking behind the scenes, and he was thinking maybe it's a Baka jungle that goes and camps the solo lane.
Okay,
with Cyclone.
okay. That's
Look
possible.
back to the old Envy days there. But Sol being locked in for Randozos is a shot towards Kiki as well. We saw him play that last time. Envy, though, going to go with Thor. Janus, very safe starting composition.
Stealth also plays solo a lot, so taking that away keeps it away from 2 players, and a god that Envy really prioritizes a lot. Thor, Janus going to come in, so the double globals. Also, Thor, very safe for a jungler such as Omega, starting in on this role to where even if you feed, you can still make an impact in the game.
Well, Bellona, Athena locked in as well for them. Bellona going to go over to the solo laner here, and Whalrus is having a pretty good time of things right now.
He's come out and honestly played a lot better than I had expected, and he really struggled, I think, in Season 2. He was kind of on some lower-end teams. He played for Denial when they really started struggling, and he came on, I believe it was the interview after they beat LG, and he seems really happy. He said he's been working on his game a lot, and I think that's a really big pickup for Randozos after losing Scary D to Luminosity.
Well, against Enemy yesterday, Enemy did ban away Eonic Sobek in both those sets. This time round, though, Eonic will get his much-loved Crocodile pal in the support role.
And Eonic's been playing this god forever. Even when Sobek wasn't considered meta, Eonic knows how powerful this god can be. It's really good. It has an escape tool that can also act as kind of an initiation tool when it comes to the pluck. Bans are coming through. We're going to see actually Kali banned away from Randozos. And Randozos, they're going to lock away Kiki's Apollo.
Kiki's Apollo taken off the table. Back to Envy again. They already focused Kali. Will they look at another assassin? Probably the best place to really look at here with solo lane already being taken. What else is really available? Najah, maybe?
They could ban away Najah. Batz might not be bad either. Really, since they have Thor, they want to focus it out, and it will be the Najah, so no setup for the Randozos on that god.
And Najah pretty good against Thor as well. Just being able to sash him to stop him jumping away with a hammer
It's
as
not
well.
always the easiest to hit, but yeah, if you have a really good Najah, and it's also a comfort pick for Skeeledon. We've seen him play it quite often.
Well, a comfort pick is definitely a Cyrus for a solo laner if you're not sure about the matchups you're going to be in. And we could have seen Cyclone go to that, but this time Randozos saying, no, we do not want to see him on that. Tier is available. How much do you expect to see Cyclone look towards a
I don't know. He played Bellona, and I can't recall the second god, but he didn't come out with these kind of hyper carries that had been talked about with Envy's roster change. We're like, oh, he's going to bring out the Uller, he's going to bring out the Bakasura,
maybe
the Kali, the Kuang. We didn't see that. He goes the traditional warriors, and while he played good individually, it wasn't that CycloneSpin carry that I think Envy was hoping for. Xbalanque picked up, so Envy, they are going to have the counter option for CycloneSpin on their last pick.
Well, to be fair, Kiki played with Allied for such a long time.
I was about to say.
He should be very good at knowing how to play this god and play it from behind too. So just see how Kiki's laning phase goes with the Sobek.
And I like what Envy are doing here, right? They're picking up gods that Kiki can farm on, right? Yesterday or the other day it was Sol, right? Where it's like, you just farm, you come into late game, you do a lot of magical damage. Also, Kiki previously played mid, so he has kind of that comfort there. Now is Xbalanque. Darkest of Night, sit there and lane and farm. He's going to be going up against Met Yankees Toyi, which has probably been Met's best god so far. Or, excuse me, not Met, Meerkats.
Very standard composition from Randozos. I like what they've done. They've just gone for true, tried, safe options, even with the Batz jungle there as well. The whole lineup is very safe, can poke, can engage, can disengage.
A lot of circles as well, right? We have the Suns, we have the Fear No Evil, Soul as well, Stellar Burst, and Supernova doing a lot of massive AoE teamfight damage. Bellona, Eagles Rally. Randozos are looking to teamfight. And there it is.
But
there it is.
You reckon that's it?
That's it.
The Kuang solo?
That's it. There's no... I really don't feel like Omega's going to play this god. It's very mechanically intensive, and he hasn't transitioned to that role where he's going to be able to play it at a high level. This is an Kuang solo. This is what we wanted to see from Envy, and they're bringing it up against Randozos.
And if that's the case, Omega's probably going to be looking towards a front line 4 here more than anything else. Not going for damage. Tank Thor.
Tank up.
Be an engagement for the team. Have Sobek to back that up and allow Kuang and Janus and Xbalanque to do their thing. Let's go in then to game 1. Benji on his own. Will they get the boot from the toggle here? A big time ultimate from Stealth Connects.
They've only gotten one so far. CycloneSpin finds a double. They're going to rush right in. Cyclone all the way to the back line. That's going to be a triple kill. He's going right for it. He's got the Quadra if he picks the right target. Quadra kill, looking for the big one, and it's going to be a penta.
We got to see CycloneSpin on the Carly in that little play there where he picks up a pentakill. He's on another technically assassin, even though it's a mage in Kuang, and we've seen him get pentas on this as well.
It was during the summer split, I think the final week, or maybe the summer finals land. Either way, this is a god that AFK lived and died off of. And when I say lived and died, I mean they just lived off it, because when CycloneSpin got Kuang in the solo lane, he was absolutely unstoppable.
However, when we saw that they did camp solo lane a lot from the jungle and put the pressure onto the solo lane against the Bellona, he's going to need that help in the early stages, right? I mean, his wave play is not going to be strong.
And he's also has the Thor, which is absolutely perfect for that. Omega's going to be able to kind of sit in between Stealth and CycloneSpin, and really, the whole point of Envy right here is literally summer split AFK, where all they want to do is make sure CycloneSpin either stays even or gets a little bit of a lead, and then have him transfer into mid game. CycloneSpin is actually, in my opinion, the best solo laner when it comes to rotations. Even when he played these hyper carries and never had teleport, he would be in fights before the opponent solo laner.
Well, you mentioned that he has got teleport this time on the Kuang though for the early game, expecting to be poked out a little bit in this laning phase. I believe he just thinks he's going to get poked quite a lot. I expect that from a Bellona too.
And I also think that Randozos recognize exactly what Envy's going to do. Everyone remembers how dominant AFK gaming was last year, and they know that Omega's job here is to make sure CycloneSpin gets fed, so they're going to probably put a lot of pressure on Soul Lane as well, either to kill him or just to allow Whalrus to stay even.
Well, Randozos have started things off well here. They took the mid Harpies and then transitioned to the blue buff here, giving Whalrus level 2 for hitting wave immediately when he gets there, as well as the additional factor that the early clear is a little bit weaker from the Envy boys at the beginning of this game. I love that they've both gone for power potion here, Skeeledon and Adoro as well. They're trying to look for the early game safety of that, as well as aggression if it becomes available.
Yeah, you know, there's not a lot of kill potential on Batz until he's level 5, but it just helps him specifically against Thor, who's also going red pot. This is just so he can match the jungle clear and damage. He's not trying to fight, he's just trying to make sure that Omega can't snowball a game.
Well, left Harpy's still available for either team to take. It kind of traded evenly in the mid lane there. That's why neither team wanted to go all in on that. Bellona, played by Whalrus here, did pick up those imps on the right-hand side there, so we'll continue to get an experiencing gold lead over the Kuang early on.
And Soul going to have the early clear here with Batz, and they're going to be rewarded with mid-cap, so Randozos doing a pretty good job on starting off. They have the timers on both. They have a little bit of an XP and gold lead, and this is going to be important against a red pot Thor. Make sure that he can't put the pressure into your own jungle.
Now, at the same time, Envy's going to be very careful over in this dual lane, because if the wave clear keeps going the way it is in favor of Randozos to get an advantage, they could look for picks in the mid lane or to the left-hand side where they're overextending. Nice wall from Omega, just going to deny the option of chasing down the
almost really dangerous for Stealth there. Leftsyndrome on the left-hand side. He'll be fine, though. But Stealth there gets aggressed on by Skeeledon, but Skeeledon actually did not level his Furious Monkey or Sacred Monkey just yet. He got 2 points into the jump, 2 points into the overhand smash. He just wanted that kind of burst ability damage. If he had that Sacred Monkey and could have teleported past the portal, probably not a kill, but then Stealth would have been in a very bad spot.
Very awkward position as we tune in once again in the mid lane. Going to pick up this experience after taking right-hand Harpies at the back here. Left one's available too, so they should be hitting 5 off these back Harpies. Oh, just close to it.
One thing we saw, or didn't see from Envy, honestly, in their matchup against Enemy is that they were very scared to force anything. They played very reactionary and defensive against Enemy, which is probably one of the worst things you want to do against a team that really excels at team fighting. You kind of want to focus on getting pickoffs, and now they're matched up against Randozos, the weakest team, I would say, in the league right now, and I really want to see Omega, once he hits 5, especially considering they have a Janus in mid, start to make moves, whether it's to the soul lane or even the dual lane.
Well, the talking point is definitely synergy between the mid laner and the jungler now as well. Omega, transition to the jungle role, has to meet the stylistic playstyle that Stealth has for the most part and make sure they're both on the same page. It takes a while to build that synergy.
And they're going to be backing for now here. Let's see what Omega elects to go into. I'm assuming boots. So both looking for the boots early. Stealth doesn't want to focus on getting that Dynasty Plate Helm, which we do see some mid laners go into, and
I guess it's depending on the style of the play from the enemy team too. We saw Skeeledon poke him a little bit, but I don't think he's too worried about it for the time being. Just investing for the mobility, get to the wall quicker for the pulls away.
Oh, quick ult by Eonic. They're trying to catch Leftsyndrome. I love that play from both of them. Eonic waits for the dash from Athena, immediately goes into the ult, which forces Athena to ult as well away. Otherwise, he was going to get picked off.
Well, Whalrus' presence of mind to come over for these right-hand Harpies, he doesn't get any experience for that, but what he did do was deny Envy from being there, and now they're going to invade onto the blue buff as well. You can see CycloneSpin has gone back to base, and there's not anything Envy can really do here. They're going to have to give up their blue buff.
And I don't really think Envy knew that. You saw the pings come out later, but Skeeledon taking an awkward path here. Eonic looking for the pluck if it's an on cooldown. No, there it is.
Great
Forces purification.
Through space and time ends up missing, but Omega in the sky going to look to potentially dunk down, but they're all under tower range here instead. It's going to be invade on the blue buff themselves, so it trades out.
Really nicely played, but Leftsyndrome going to try and steal it. Gets knocked away by Eonic, and this could be a big fight.
Big fight with the Xbalanque coming out, and the Fear No Evil as well. Cyclone Illusions away to safety. Adora was looking for the in-hands with Disapparate speed up to get him towards him, but they're not going to find him. They may continue the pressure with the Stellar Burst, though.
I don't think Skeeledon's going to be able to close the gap, but a really nice turnaround from both teams. Eonic a little bit caught out, but Whalrus continuing to suffer from not understanding some of the ability timers there. Eonic had plucked, I think, 20 seconds earlier. It was up and quickly dashes away.
So, in the grand scheme of things of how that played out, blue for blue, but red is now being looked at by Sympathy there for a second. They know it's available. Do Randozos, left Harpies as well. And so they swing around towards them now.
Leftsyndrome really wants to fight this, but the team's unsure. You can see Omega looping around. Has Hammer. There's the stun, though. Not even looking to steal it. Really looks like they're trying to set up for a kill, and there's Skeeledon. No purification online.
But there's no real follow-up at the moment. Eonic going to use Lurker in the Waters to try and close the gap, but not going to get in range in time. Meerkat with the rotation ricochet. Just off the mark because of the sidestep more than
that was a beautiful backstep by Eonic, recognizing what Meerkat wanted to do. Just that little half step. Meerkat's going to miss the bounce there on what could have turned very deadly if a double tap hit.
So still no first kill coming on the boards. Let's go to the graphs and just see how they are as this mid-wave should be taken down as well. Pretty much all even, but ever so slightly in Randozo's favor from the early aggression they've shown.
They stole away the blue, but they had their blue stolen away. Yeah, this is, I'm assuming most of the lead is on Whalrus, probably about 300 and, no, it's actually 400 on him, and this is what we expect coming out of an Kuang versus a Bellona matchup. We've seen this, I think, 2 or 3 times so far in the SPL. You're expected to lose against the Warrior who has a lot of power early, but it's really just about farming until you get to this team fight phase and just become a monster.
Whalrus going to continue. He can't become a monster. He can become a dragon.
No, well, Scylla was banned away.
Okay, good point. Well noticed. Don't say I'm a monster then. So Cyclone just do what he can to continue farming up. And we've seen this multiple times from the solo lane. When you pick a negative matchup, you're just there to farm. We saw it from Kronos in the old days, all the way through to Roz and Aphrodite's. Your early game, you've got to be very, very careful. But you will transition to team fights stronger as the game goes on. And Cyclone, well, he's known for those team fights.
And honestly, very lucky for him that his team was able to steal away the blue buff, because if he was down his blue buff and the opponents, he would have been even further behind than he is right now. This is still manageable. It's 6 minutes in, which is pretty bad that you're that far behind, but all he really needs is probably 1 or 2 more items to be effective.
And his damage is starting to come online though, which is key, and Whalrus needs to start looking potentially getting some magical defense here, just to be able to weather the storm with the burst abilities that can come out of Cyclone that you saw him take poke from that last little engagement. And to be honest, it wasn't a minimal amount.
No, it was decent. Actually, gank coming out, and Omega completely whiffs on Whalrus. No ult for him. There is the execute.
And that's exactly what we saw coming out, though, from Envy over and over again.
Skeeledon.
When we saw this CycloneSpin, but Fear No Weaver's going to prop, and Cyclone will trade out to Skeeledon. Nice rotation from Skeeledon to respond, and lack of awareness from Envy there, I feel.
That was really surprising from CycloneSpin, because we were following on him in the Dragon. Yeah. We actually saw Skeeledon on the ground, and still, CycloneSpin either didn't recognize the ult timer or didn't respect the ult timer.
And it's a funny story now because the blue buff's available, but in mid lane there's pressure going on to Adoro here. Disapparate used. Eonic in a very good position to keep the pressure on. Leftsyndrome does turn up with the ultimate now, but in the jungle the blue buff is available. Skeeledon would love to have contested through space and time fight here.
Taunt actually stealth plucked under tower, trying to get the wall in time. Eonic takes out Adoro in the meantime. Stealth getting chased though. Skeeledon looking for the damage. Eonic going to slow him, and this might be a return here.
No, it won't be a return of the time. He'd hang on around the back. Whalrus is looking for a lazy back in Stealth, but that's not the case. Stealth went to his left-hand side for safety here, as both the Hunters now making a rotation over. The blue buff under contention for
Whalrus is by himself,
but he's got Syndrome in support with the Eagles rally on the taunt in tow. Bludgeon hits Eonic, but he's tanky enough to weather that for now, but for how long?
Looks like he'll be able to walk out here. I don't think Envy have the abilities to really chase them down. Cyclone's ult's down, Omega's ult's down as well. They're just going to let Whalrus walk out. They're able to secure their blue buff, and going all the way back to that first blood, that was actually very important that Cyclone got it. He got the majority of that gold, and even now, he feels a lot more confident, I think, evening up the gold. You see him in position, maybe trying to steal. Just going to head back to the wave, though. Wants to play it safe.
And as we said about Whalrus, too, probably needs to look at some magical defense, already working towards that now as well. Maybe the bubble, but Envy looking for the fast gold fury here. Hoagie is is available to try and contest it with the Sun's going to force a reset and gets aggro from it and holds it for a second, which is a little bit risky stealth. Ate a little bit too much of those Suns for free there, and now he's in trouble. Going to be looking to try and get away with a portal, but the in-hand from Meerkat are good enough to bring him down.
CycloneSpin and the rest of Envy not in a position to follow up. You can see Omega and Eonic took so much poke from that Gold Fury. They were a little bit worried, but look at this. Skeeledon actually going to find 2 members over in the jungle. There's the Sacred Monkey off the mark, though.
Just off the mark. And the big talk about their stealth ended up, realistically, he died for free, I want to say that. The rest of the team disengaged, and he wanted to fight that, it seemed, and ended up taking more poke because of it.
Gold Fury started. CycloneSpin and Kiki are here to try and stop it, but it's very low. Here comes CycloneSpin. Fear no evil. Perfectly timed, and Randozos secure the Gold Fury, but here comes CycloneSpin. He's trying to get an execute range, and he's found one already.
Finds one already, but where's the next damage going to come from? Through space and time, fight off at an angle.
It didn't make the portal.
It didn't make a portal for them to follow up. Dragon still in the sky, Cyclone, and they're going to give this one up. No, they're not. Omega's going up next too. Maybe looking for the Ho-Yi.
He's trying to find him here, lining it up, and it's actually one player caught against the wall. There it is, but Leftsyndrome's already ulted away, and that's a win for Randozos. They lose 1 member, and they get the Gold Fury.
Very good for them to get that gold here for themselves. 1,300 gold at the moment, and Randozos coming into this. We're expected, but look at this. Meerkat wants to fight with Kiki, but Jaguar was used wisely just to avoid the edge of that corner.
And this is one thing about Meerkat, too. He really likes to fight, but teams abuse that a lot against him. We see massive rotations. However, I think he feels pretty confident going up against Kiki, who's new to this role. Omega also hasn't shown any presence in the dual lane. 10 minutes in right now, and with the ward coverage as well, actually, he doesn't even have any wards. He just feels so confident
Kiki's got to be so careful here. He's got no mana, no health at the moment, so he can't even get away from anything. Does have purification up, and he was trying to stay in range for the experience there, but now by staying, he's now actually probably going to lose a little bit more as this next wave's now coming in too.
And you can see Meerkat also holding on to his Ricochet, recognizing that Kiki can't walk in to get that experience if he holds it. If he uses it on the wave, Kiki's much safer, can kind of walk in.
Well, he just ricocheted Eonic to the face there as the tail whip comes out. Stealth still hanging around here, but Skeeledon, well, he's over here alongside Leftsyndrome on the Athena to support and make sure they've got some ward coverage to keep an eye out. So Meerkat can actually continue pressure now thanks to that ward.
And this is really good coming out from him. He's already got a kill. He's got about a 700 gold lead with the Gold Fury as well, giving him about, I believe it was roughly about 200 extra gold. So he's out farming Kiki massively.
They're just hunting around at the moment, Randozos, looking to fight more than anything else, it seems. They're using this early game to their advantage, which I'm surprised how much of an early game I expect them to say that when there's a Thor on the enemy team. His blue buff is stolen away again from CycloneSpin.
And it doesn't look like Envy really want to fight this. They have the globals from Thor and Janus, but trying to hold it for now. Eonic was here as well, just in case Leftsyndrome rotated, which he had done.
It's just a good situation of small wins coming out for the Randozos time and time again here. Get the Gold Fury, steal away the buff a couple of times, find a kill if they can on the odd occasion where somebody's out of position.
Once again, it really just feels like Envy. They're playing reactionary, right? The only move they've made so far was the attempted Gold Fury. They're immediately forced off of it because the Suns, they reset it, worried about the Ho-Yi steal. And because of that, Randozos were able to pick them off, find a couple kills, and then get the Gold Fury on their own.
However, Omega did aggress over in the solo lane early on. He did actually look for a gank this time.
It was very important.
And find that pick. Pressuring onto that Bellona early has just allowed Cyclone that little bit of window to start this Doom mob up now.
And I don't think we'll see him really pressured in the solo lane anymore. Cyclone's in a really good spot at this time. He's, even in gold for the most part, only down the Gold Fury amount, has Doom Orb online, so he can clear pretty effectively. And you can even see in Whalrus, he's got the magical protection he wants. He feels very safe with that, and he's starting to build into physical protection as well, so it's going to be harder if Omega rotates over and tries to set up a kill.
So just keep an eye on CycloneSpin if he starts making rotations to mid after clearing the wave a little bit more now, looking for potential picks if they can find them onto the likes of Adoro or Skeeledon if somebody's just awkwardly out of position.
I don't expect to see too much action here until the next Gold Fury spawn, and that's on about a 1.5-minute timer. CycloneSpin going to try and farm as much as he can right now, has about 1,300 gold.
Well, Randozos is looking at the mid here, trying to get a taunt off onto Stealth, which does connect, forces his purification as well. Teleport coming out here as well from Whalrus to join this fight. A little bit awkward because they're all under the tower now.
And Skeeledon jumped away as well, so trying to get out. Whalrus, I think, just showing presence there.
But
Forces
he's
the wall out.
Creeps for free there, based off that as well. Like Cyclone was pushing the wave. Nice little return damage from, sorry, not from Kiki, just to avoid the damage, I should say, from the Rising Jaguar. But yeah, Whalrus rotated, used teleport, and now loses pretty much, I want to say, half that wave to the tower.
It really looked like Randozos wanted to force something because of the teleport, but I think that was just a really good disengage coming out from Envy. The purification is forced, though, on Stealth, so we won't have that for another 120 seconds. It's about 2 minutes, which means if the Gold Fury is started here, it's going to be a very good fight for Randozos because they should be able to just kind of focus him down. As long as they catch him in Fear No Evil before he can start channeling his ult and get that CC immunity, they should be able to just force him.
We'll talk about forcing things. Meerkat at the moment has got a really good lead over Kiki here. It's a decent amount. And I think we need to start paying a little bit of attention to this lane at the moment because Kiki starting to struggle here. You saw him get pressured out a couple of times and Eonic had to force to rotate over and support, but Meerkat's build is coming along very, very quickly.
I think the last time we looked at it, it was a 700 gold lead. Now it's 1,000 barring Kiki clearing this next wave, but still, he's finishes Aussie, and this is a very big power spike for Randozos, right? You have most players right now all level 12, especially if Leftsyndrome backs as well. He's going to have his second relic of the game. He's gone Shell already. He has a number of options for him if he wants to go Curse. Sprint is also a possibility as well. And with the beads down, as well as Kiki being so far behind, they should be looking to force it.
Really nice use from Cyclone there on the illusion to avoid the bludgeon and then return some poke damage back to Whalrus one more time round.
That's the whole matchup. Is the second bludgeon comes out, Kuang, all he does is water illusion away.
And try and return damage again. In the jungle, though, Eonic going to take some poke damage there from the Disapparate. As Skeeledon and Leftsyndrome were around, but he created the zone for Envy to take those left harpies for free.
And now Randozos grouping up. You can see Whalrus rotating in. Kuang over on the right-hand side. Taunt coming out from Omega, and he's in a lot of trouble.
They got his hammer, and he will fall down straight away. For Eonic as well in trouble with the Fear No Evil. Still a burst, a little bit off the mark. Supernova as well. As now we see Kiki rotating with Meerkat, but another good pick coming out from Randozos.
And this should be a forced Gold Fury right now. You can see Stealth backing, has his ultimate if he wants to ult in. And CycloneSpin, it really seems like Envy are going to concede this for the most part. CycloneSpin just focusing right now on trying to counter jungle. And Kiki tries to get in, but his dash is down.
Randozos get the Gold Fury. Now he's on his own. He will fall down through space and time. Fires off, hitting Skeeledon. Reinforcements from Envy are here, looking to try and turn this around somehow.
Cyclone, no one knows where he is right now. There's no wards online. Stealth trying to close the gap here, and here he comes. He's looking for Whalrus, but he gets disarmed. Can't get the dragons off, but there's the beautiful portal.
And that should be enough for the kill. You see the execute come out from CycloneSpin onto Whalrus. One for a Gold Fury, sorry, 1 for 1 and a Gold Fury the way of Randozos.
Once again, Whalrus, CycloneSpin going very deep, trying to find Skeeledon, but somehow managed to get out there. If his water illusion had got caught or something happened, it would have been very bad for him, but he's going to walk out, finds another kill right now, 3-1-0. So even though Randozos are winning, all of Envy or most of Envy's kills are on their hard carry.
It's funny because that Gold Fury attempt there, I feel Kiki got baited by a small little mistake from Randozos. Leftsyndrome, I believe, had aggro as he was trying to walk towards him. So brought the Gold Fury towards Kiki. Kiki's like, oh, maybe I can just steal this with an auto attack if they keep bringing it this close. And then that forced him to stick around and end up getting picked. He knew he had teammates coming, but Cyclone does get the tower in right.
Oh, that reach almost knocked Cyclone out. And you can see Skeeledon jump in the air thinking he was going to get turned on there. Not going to happen. Whalrus looking to steal the boar away, but it's not spawned just yet. And Kiki really struggling. 2 levels down, 1,200 gold down as well. Now, Envy, they do have a very powerful late game, right? Thor transitions into a front liner, just getting Omega's building damage.
He's not gone for the tank, he's gone for the more aggressive option here, which is another talking point. Again, I expected Envy to maybe look for the second tank alongside Eonic, but they're just going to rely on raw damage here.
I'm really surprised because Omega's been focused pretty heavily, right? Even if he doesn't die, he's getting poked out a lot in the start of these fights, and he's not really able to get all his damage off. You can see him sitting at the bottom, actually below Leftsyndrome right now. I am really surprised that he's not going into a frontline Thor and instead looking to try and carry when he already has hard carries on his team. Not only stealth on this Janus, but he has CycloneSpin as well in the soul in on this Kuang. And if he just focuses on Peel, I think this is going to round out their comp much better.
And it's also the last 2 games he played against Enemy, he had less than 10,000 player damage.
I think it was 12,000, just under 12,000 between both games as a Hun, Batz, and Naja.
It looks like the same sort of story here again. He seems to be okay at the farming part of things, but when it comes to actually getting the damage out and being a threat, it's a different story.
We'll have to see if he can transition, though, right? Omega's still a very good player. And we'll see if he can kind of recover. But there, he's actually caught his hammer once again.
But Eonic going to return some nice poke onto Skeeledon. Unfortunately, the wall from Omega going to block a lot of the flip. And now Omega forced the purification away. Supernova just off the mark there from Adoro to try and continue pressuring Omega.
And it really seemed like that was just a forced purification burner coming out from Randozos. They're able to get both Omegas and, stealth Holotas. So they're able to get Omega's purification. I expect them to try and set up another kill on him pretty soon.
That pressure in mid lane lines allowed Leftsyndrome to come over to the left-hand side. Meerkat's at a tower. Now, this tier 1 tower is below half health, and Syndrome will join him, meaning Eonic's going to come over here, but Skeeledon in the jungle is going to pinch him.
This is a really good cutoff for Randozos. They don't want Eonic to walk in. They're going to force him to kind of come the highway or risk dying.
A little bit of a misplay from the two teams. Celebert off the mark with the taunt coming out as well. But now rotation comes back from Envy with Stealth around and Omega, so the pressure relieves.
Randozos, though, despite having all the momentum, are only up about 2,000 gold. Considering they got 2 Gold Furies, that's not a massive amount. And a lot of that's because they're trying to force these fights here.
Talking about forcing a fight, Whalrus is behind a tier 2 tower, sorry, behind a tier 1 tower here that's still standing, trying to push Cyclone out with Proxy in the wave and keeping him poked out.
Look at this.
Athena's coming in though because there's a rotation coming from Envy.
And it looks like Whalrus just trying to get out. He's actually going to turn onto Omega. Gets stunned out of his bludgeon, though. He's pretty tanky here. Eonic looking for the ult, but he's going to be saved. It looks like from Bulwark. And now Skeeledon's rotation going to turn on to Eonic.
But Eonic going to dash away to the safety again, so everybody survives. No, they don't, because Meerkat gets the solo kill on Kiki.
And he's been looking for that all game. Every
game.
time we've looked at that lane, all that's been happening is Meerkat's trying to find a bounce, and Kiki's just dashing out of it, getting that CC immunity as well so he doesn't get stunned. And finally, Meerkat's not only gold and experience lead has paid off for him. He's going to get a tier 1 tower as well. And because Envy committed so much to the right-hand side, he's going to be at this uncontested and even get an extra wave here.
He put a ward in the jungle. He was actually thinking about backing at one point, but his team called and let him know that everybody was on the other side of the map, so he has time to still get away here. Wall off the mark from Omega, thanks to the leap coming out, so Meerkat will go back to base and continue working towards that chins.
And now about a 4,000 gold lead because of that. Envy committed so much that they lost so much on the left-hand side. And now Gold Fury is going to be starting once again. Meerkat just back and finished chin size. Once again, a massive power spike for him. Kiki still very far behind in his build, and it's going to only start to get even harder for him.
And that was credit to Randozos on the solo lane. To be honest, Whalrus forced the issue onto Cyclone. Cyclone decided to fight instead of try and farm because of the proxy coming out. That's the only thing you really can do against a proxy. And then when you've got Leftsyndrome ulting in to help protect him, knowing the rotation's coming from enemy, to escape is important. But talking about escape, fair no evil used. Eonic isolated a little bit here thanks to the wall, but he's tanky enough to survive once more. Eonic's doing such good disruption and getting focus onto himself, which is very important right now for Envy.
Honestly, that was all Omega for me. That wall was perfectly placed, completely split up Envy and Randozos in that team fight on the wrong side, and it helped Stealth get out. Now, Stealth, I think he had some options to get out, but more importantly, they're able to hold his Sanctuary before this Gold Fury fight breaks out, and Omega, really nice from him. That's one thing you really want to see coming out from a player who's playing Thor is perfectly placed walls. They're so critical in some of these games.
What's following Meerkat at the moment is they're around the Gold Fury area. Eonic does clear out the ward and get away with the charge prey. Ward, however, changes hands as Whalrus does find that return tier 1 tower on the right-hand side. And he's got free pressure here because Cyclone, he's rotated towards the Gold Fury and he doesn't have teleport up, whereas Whalrus does.
And that's why Cyclone has to come this way, because he doesn't have teleport. So they're going to send Omega over, and Omega needs this farm anyway. He has the teleport. So I like this decision coming out from Envy to where they put CycloneSpin, if the Gold Fury fight breaks out, in a position that he can just be there, and Omega can teleport over.
Knowing that Omega is over on that side of the map now, they're going to start this one up. Gold Fury going very, very quickly, and nobody's going to be here in time to stop this one. Kiki's the first one to notice it, but already they can't even try and find a turnaround kill in response.
I kind of want to go back and watch VODs, but I'm pretty sure Envy have the absolute worst Gold Fury control. Skeeledon blinks over the wall, going to find a big ult onto Stealth, who barely manages to get out.
Did use the Sanctuary. Eonic trying to create his own one lurking in the waters. Will he find a charge prey after? No, he won't, because the rest of the team is disengaged, knowing Whalrus was coming over as well.
And now Stealth sticking around for a while, trying to get some extra farm, but Meerkat smells him. He really wants to find the Janus. Stealth, though, could have back into his tier 2 tower. He'll be safe for now. Pressure coming out from Randozos in the mid.
That's all it's been. Pressure from the Randozos, and now with 5 members
Omega's in the
grouped
sky.
up, Omega going to go up and try to defend. They've noticed him, though. They're trying to retreat, but 2 going to get hit. Skeeledon does take a lot of poke, but a nice taunt from Syndrome keeps him alive. Eonic, though, focused on Skeely, who jumps away from the charge prey, which would have spelt certain death for the jungler.
And a really good job by Whalrus to zone out the hard carries for Envy under their tier 1 tower. Randozos actually going to be backing here a little bit, and this could be a chance for Envy to pressure this tier 1. It was only Skeeledon who backed, and I believe that was Whalrus as well, but he'll be able to teleport in.
There's
and a big taunt.
3-man taunt. Stellar Burst going to connect as well. Stealth is evaporated off the map. Eagles Rally helping to confirm that for Adoro. And now it's the other way round. We're playing a bit of everybody mid.
This is really surprising for me. Stealth is a mage, however, he's sitting at the edge of a tower against an Athena. All of Envy just grouped up for a massive AoE taunt. I mean, Athena's been in the game forever. I'm really surprised that the team's making these basic of mistakes right there. That's going to be a tier 1 tower as well at Envy. this is a really rough season for them.
It's looking very rough now. Randozos is going to switch their attention to the red buff in the jungle now with the whole team here. Omega's doing his blue buff on the right-hand side at the moment. So this is just allowing Randozos to clean up the left jungle.
It just seems like Envy, the players are making all these small individual mistakes that you typically don't see them make. And they grouped up for an Athena at the edge of a tower. We've seen that from them, I think, even earlier in the split. I don't recall the game, but there was multiple times where like 3 or 4 man grouped right in the range of the cone, get hit, and they get turned on every single time.
I mean, we know the guys of Envy.
These are great players.
We all know they're
all
fantastic
phenomenal
players. But maybe the synergy is just not there. The communication, the shot calling is just off the mark.
I feel like, if anything, like they're all just demoralized. They're on a 7-game loss streak, potentially 8-game to Randozos, who have only taken 1 game in the SPL in 6 weeks. And just to be this far behind, I don't want to say they've given up, but it really seems like they're making mistakes that they wouldn't typically make last season.
Well, they've replaced 3 members from last season. That's the other talking point. The 3 members have changed.
It just seems like they're all on different pages. Omega struggling a little bit in the jungle here, going full damage when he has hard carries on his team. And even now, right, even though he's only has 1 death, he gets caught out in so many situations. You can even see he's still only 5,000 damage. He's still below Leftsyndrome.
Leftsyndrome above as well, KikiSoCheeky.
That's, 4,500 on him.
Actually really low down there. And that's the pressure that's been put on Kiki by Meerkat early on. Kiki trying to transition to a hunter role. You've got Omega trying to transition to a jungle role halfway through a season.
This is not the time you wanted to see the role change is if you're an Envy fan, because them coming in, losing 2 games to enemy, right, it's like, okay, this is really bad, but they lost to one of the best teams in North America.
I mean, yesterday's talk about for me was definitely going to be what the plan is for Envy this season. This is a rebuilding split. This is now a rebuilding split.
They can't, if they lose this game or potentially both, they cannot expect to even come close to DreamHack.
Well, at the moment, the advantage is with Randozos, but Envy aren't out of it just yet. Do remember, they do have that Kuang in the solo lane that we've seen go off before and turn games around for the side of Envy. They're very famous for that. They've also got Xbalanque still, even though he's low on damage right now. Hits full build. He can turn it around. Taunting mid from Leftsyndrome. They've been on point. So is Skeeledon with the fear. No Weevils. Omega. Purification and ults away. Uses everything to get away from the damage of a Doro coming. Stealth, however, is in a world of hurt and won't get his ultimate off in time. Kiki giving chase, though, to try and turn it onto Skeeledon. Looking for the pick, but Whalrus is there to zone out Cyclone, allowing Skeeledon to escape.
And there's the knockup coming out. Whalrus is trying to stay alive, and he's actually going to surge forward. Purification forced out by Cyclone. Bludgeon doing a lot of damage. No ult for him, and he's just waiting for Water Illusion, but doesn't have it in time. Whalrus locks down Cyclone.
Notice how he used the Scourge at the same moment that he was looking for the in-hand Cyclone.
Every time on that Dragon Hall.
Straight away, and that's one of the matchups you're going to get. Now Fire Giant started by Randozos. 26 minutes in this game approaching, and Eonic's on the way with Omega, but they're not going to be here in time. Or look at the contesting.
I don't think they even know. I'm not sure if they know. Even if they do, they might just be looking for free farm. Don't want to risk throwing. They're still down about 8,000 gold. It's not a death sentence just yet, but it might be if Randozos can start chipping away at the remaining towers, get a gold fury as well. That's when it's going to be the 15,000 gold lead, and very hard for them to come back.
You talk about the gold fury, it literally just spawned as well. Leftsyndrome going to get walled by Omega, but it looks like they want to continue chasing with Meerkat.
Was that hammer by Omega?
Here. Ricochet connects as well. Omega hits the Eagles rally on top of it. Sorry, Omega gets hit by the Eagles rally on top of it. He'll fall as well. Unstable Vortex from Stealth doesn't do too much, but the Fear No Evil creates the zone for them to look for the tier 2.
Omega's really struggling in this jungle role. You can see right there in that last engagement. He hits the hammer and then, or he hits the wall and then hammers for damage. And then Randozos are just like, what are you doing, bro? Meerkat hits the beautiful Ricochet. He's stunned, and now he has no hammer to reposition himself. He's forced to ult, but he's stuck in place between 5 members. They collapse on him, finish him off, and get another pick.
And that was Randozos looking for the red buff and the Gold Fury, and in the end, they get a tier 2 and then the Gold Fury as well. So it works out in their favor again. 9-4 is the score. Let's go to the graphs, and you'll see the tail of this game.
12,000, and it hasn't even just been like one thing where Randozos have just turned it on. It's just been a slow and steady gain for them, where they're just finding these picks, getting a Gold Fury, finding another pick, getting a tower. They only have 9 kills, but it feels like they have 20, honestly.
And that's the story of the game, just based off the composition. The composition themselves was very lane-oriented, focused, balanced at all stages of the game. There was nothing that outshone and was crazy.
This is a really well-rounded team coming out from Randozos.
Envy went their old strategies. They ran an assassin in the solo lane to try and look for kills and get going early, which he kind of did with that first blood going his way, but since then, I feel like they're lacking a little bit of frontline here.
Omega ganked Soul Lane, and then ever since then has just kind of reacted. Honestly, less than reacted. It's actually been him burning his hammer, and immediately all of Randozos collapsing on him. Even if he doesn't die, like I said. And he manages to get out because he burns his relic. His team's in an awkward spot, and then he can't really engage until those relics are back up.
And there's been 2 combos the whole game. Taunt, Fear No Evil.
Yes. Every single
That's
time.
Taunt, Fear No Evil.
There's so many purification burners on this team. Taunt on such a low cooldown. Also, you have the dash where you can close the gap, right? It's not like a Geb rollout where you're forced to blink really to get that knock-up. And it's just so powerful. Athena's one of the best supports from ahead, and you're seeing it here.
Syndrome is playing it very well. He's looking for multiple people, groups up at a time, finding 2-3 men minimum every single time. It's not just a singular target they've been looking for, and that's just allowed the Randozos to push on.
And I like what he's done here, right? He's not even worried about the physical damage because of how far behind Omega and Kiki are. He's gone into Bulwark of Hope and Heartward, so he's doubling up on Magical. He has the physical coming out from Sovereignty, which is enough to survive the honestly, 0 damage coming out of that Hunter in jungle right now. And there he is again, 3-man taunt.
2 purifications burn, and the Fire Giant still available for them to siege again. Just wait for the cooldown. It's another 10 seconds, as you can see in the bottom left of your screen. When it's available, they'll go again.
And you can see Randozos, they didn't full commit. They wanted to just get purification there. Whalrus on the right-hand side going to be putting pressure here. And Envy, they're going to have to split their team or commit to a fight on one side.
This time he goes in for the taunt. You'll see Skeeledon will follow up with that Fear No Evil almost immediately if the opportunity presents itself. Kiki trading out with Whalrus and losing that trade under the Phoenix at the moment there. But now they pressure mid lane. Eonic trying to disrupt what he can with the tail whip. Wall a little bit off the mark here as Leftsyndrome does go in with the taunt, and Omega gets evaporated as his purification was already down.
Once again, it's just, he's in such a rough spot and he's not very tanky right now. And here comes Whalrus, and there's Skeeledon as well with the Fear No Evil.
Great play coming out from the boys of Randozos as they look for the other Phoenix. They're going to look to take out Envy in game 1 here. Randozos are expected to
win
lose every game this season. They picked up 1 against LG, and they're about to pick up another against Envy.
I mean, this is good for Randozos, right? This is very helpful. However, they're basically out of DreamHack contention unless I think mathematically something crazy happens.
Hey, dreams can happen.
Just not at DreamHack.
The dream has begun for the clowns right now, I tell you that much.
But this is really bad for Envy. If you lose to Enemy right earlier in this week, that's fine. They're one of the best teams. You have a lot of new players. You're transitioning, but you're still expected to make this at least a competitive game. Envy haven't even come close to having any control or any momentum against this team.
I mean, we look back at Randozos' other performance against LG. It was a slightly different roster with Polar Bear Mike in there. Leftsyndrome, though, has made an adaptation for this team this week, and it's working out well for them. I think this is what Randozos need to do. They just need to play standard. Yeah. Play standard and let teams make mistakes against them, or just exploit the opportunities they've got with the teams they've got.
Honestly, Randozos have been aggressing, which is typically not what you see from them. They're actually usually they play kind of like what Envy's doing right now, where they play passively, they react. But I mean, honestly, Leftsyndrome seems like a really solid pickup. This dude has been very aggressive. He's not scared. Very good reactions as well. You noticed when Eonic tried to set up that kill in the dual lane earlier, immediately recognizes that it gets turned on. He looks at Meerkat, he ults away so he doesn't get hit by the lurking in the waters. And it's just been very quietly strong play from him.
But apart from that one solo lane gank from Omega, we've not seen any aggression from the team. It's all been reactionary again.
They stole the blue buff after having their own.
Kiki sat under the tower the whole game. Stealth trying to get himself some poke damage out, but now he's 0-4, getting picked off a couple of times. It's just not working out. Through space and time, looks for damage. Omega in the sky, they recognize it though, so Randozos drop the Fire Giant, and they may look to take the fight.
And look at this, Whalrus in the back line just dealing with 2 carries. It's going to be Omega crashing down, and he's immediately going to return the favor. Looking for Kiki. Meditation to keep him alive for now, and Eonic going to try and do the best he can to peel. And this should be Envy backing off. However, so many things forced. You can even see Titan under attack right now.
There's 3 Phoenixes down, so just force fights here. Let them fight. As long as you don't lose too many members, the Titan's going to slowly be whittled away. Then you can return back to it, but they've got to go back to defend.
Fire Giant going to be falling here. No one on Envy anywhere close to defend it. The Titans at about, I believe, 60%, roughly about 60%, and Randozos, they're 5 members strong. All full health, all full mana. Most of them have ults, and they're going to be coming crashing in here, and this should be them finding their second win in the SPL.
Monkey going to go in from Skeeledon. Fear No Evil as well, looking for the next. The crit is good, and Kiki will fall to Skeeledon. They're still looking for more potential picks here, but now we may see Skeeledon fall down at the end here, unless he can get away. But the Titan is below 1,000 health, and it's below 0 health now. Randozos take game 1 off Envy.
Zatman called it. Zatman said this was going to be a 2-0 Randozos.
Did he really?
He really felt it.
He really felt it.
I think it was kind of this thing where Envy's been on the massive decline. They looked really bad against enemy, and then Randozos have kind of been questionably on the rise, right? I was really worried for them after they lost Polar Bear Mike. I don't know who's taken over shot calling, but Leftsyndrome individually has been really good for the squad. Not scared to be aggressive when he knows he can. Recognize when he's in a little bit of trouble and will quickly get away. And there wasn't a single individual that played like outstanding on Randozos there. It was just all of the teams showing up. Maybe Meerkat just completely controlling Kiki is the only the most lopsided thing we saw.
I mean, you brought Skeeledon, sorry, you brought Whalrus in first of all to the solo, and that's worked out okay for them. He's been very aggressive. Then Skeeledon coming from denial after all the switch arounds that happened in the jungle, and now he's like, hey, look at me, I'm still as good as I was. I'm still good enough to be on a high level team. But